Jason once again kicked me out of the car for his white moonlight, Ivy. I dragged my injured foot and waited on the street late at night for 2 hours without being able to hail a taxi. At this time, Ivy sent me a voice message. When I opened it, it was Jason's affectionate voice. Ivy, I regret it. As long as you come back, I will call off the wedding with Ava. I played this voice message on loop. After the extreme pain, there was relief. To fulfill Jason's love, I chose to leave on the eve of the wedding. I thought my leaving was a fulfillment, but I didn't expect that after I left, Jason seemed to be frantically looking for me everywhere. After receiving the voice message sent by Ivy, I had already been waiting for a taxi on the cold street for 2 hours. The street in the heavy snow was bitterly cold and deserted. I played Jason's affectionate confession on loop to dispel the silence and fear of the night. Ivy sent me several more videos. She was sitting in the passenger seat of Jason's car, smiling sweetly. Jason cooked a late-night snack for her and applied medicine to her leg. Jason carried her upstairs. Finally, Ivy was lying on the big bed in the wedding room of Jason and me in her pajamas. She asked Jason with a smile, "Brother Jason, you always remember our promise, right? You haven't touched Ava in these 6 years, right? I can tell you that if you touch Ava, you will be unclean and I will never want you again." Jason didn't answer. He just held Ivy in his arms and lowered his head to kiss her lips. Tears blurred my vision, and I cried uncontrollably on the street late at night. After more than 10 years of affection, more than 10 years of giving, and more than 10 years of reluctance, I finally found a reason to give up at this moment. I dialed a phone number. "Auntie, I don't want to get married anymore." My aunt, who is in a foreign country, was silent for a moment. "If you don't want to get married, then don't. I told you a long time ago that Jason is not a good person. You just wouldn't listen. Now it's not too late to regret. Ava, come abroad to find Auntie." I sobbed and agreed. Auntie sighed, "Don't cry. You are still so young. You don't have to be sad for an unworthy man." Before today, I always thought that Jason was my reliance and that I had found my own happiness. I met Jason when we graduated from college. We have been together for 6 years. Except for holding hands, we haven't done anything more intimate. I always thought that Jason respected me and wanted to save our most beautiful things for the wedding night. If it weren't for the videos sent by Ivy, I would never have dreamed that Jason's not being intimate with me was not out of respect for me, but was keeping himself pure for Ivy. How ridiculous. He has been with me for 6 years just to force Ivy to come back. When I was with Jason, I told him about my original family more than once. He knew the harm Ivy brought to me. He knew that Ivy and her mistress mother caused the death of my mother and took everything from me. He knew how much I hated Ivy and Ivy's mistress mother. But still, he hurt me like this for Ivy. Knowing that Jason was only using me as a tool to tease Ivy to come back, I was completely disappointed in him. When I returned to the wedding room of Jason and me, it was already the next morning. I pushed open the door and at a glance saw Jason and Ivy in the dining room. The two were sitting face to face having breakfast. Ivy coquettishly said, "Brother Jason, I didn't expect the breakfast you made to be so delicious." I have been with Jason for 6 years, and he has never cooked in the kitchen once. I always thought he couldn't cook. It is said that to keep a man's heart, one must keep his stomach. For these 6 years, I have carefully prepared 3 meals a day for him like an old mother. Even when I was sick, I didn't miss it for fear that he wouldn't get used to food outside. Now looking at the exquisite breakfast prepared on the table, I finally understand. Jason is not unable to cook. He just doesn't bother to. After all, I am not the one he loves in his heart. There is no need for him to cook for me. The two people in the dining room looked at each other affectionately and didn't notice my appearance at all. It wasn't until they heard my loud closing sound that they both looked over. Jason stood up and frowned. "You are back? Where did you go last night? Why didn't you come back?" Is he pretending not to know? Last night it was snowing so heavily. He pushed me out of the car for Ivy and didn't care. Now he is pretending to ask me why I didn't come back. With such heavy snow and frequent traffic accidents, and I was in such a remote place. How could I get a taxi? Even if I could get a taxi and come back, so what? Could it be that I deliberately took a taxi back to watch them be affectionate on the wedding bed I prepared? I didn't want to say a word and moved past Jason to go upstairs. But he stopped me and explained guiltily, Ivy had a car accident and injured her leg last night. So I brought her back. Ivy didn't forget you even when she was injured. She has been very worried about you and urged me to look for you, Ava. You are sisters and have the same blood. Don't hold on to the grudges of the previous generation. On the first day Jason and I were together, I didn't hide my family from him. He has always been very clear about the relationship between me and Ivy. He knows that Ivy's mistress mother angered my mother to death. He knows how Ivy bullied me when I was a child. He knows how much I hate Ivy. But now he wants me to make up with Ivy. How could he say such things? I couldn't bear it anymore and interrupted him. She has nothing to do with me. Please don't associate her with me. I will not forgive mistresses and the daughters of mistresses. My words angered Jason, and his voice suddenly rose. Ava, do you know what you are saying? How can you be so ignorant? Apologize to Ivy quickly. Rather than apologizing to Ivy, I'd rather die. I looked at Jason coldly. What if I don't apologize? What will you do? You. You are simply unreasonable. No wonder no one has liked you all this time. Ava, can you change your inability to distinguish right from wrong? I never knew that not forgiving mistresses and the daughters of mistresses, not forgiving a malicious woman who has been bullying me and taking everything from me is wrong. Harsh and hurtful words came out of Jason's mouth like a barrage. His tenderness is all reserved for Ivy. For me, there is only malicious disdain and indifference. No wonder he pretended for 6 years. Today he finally couldn't bear it and took off his mask, looking at Jason protecting Ivy like protecting some precious treasure, and seeing the fleeting look of triumph in Ivy's eyes. I couldn't control my reddened eyes. I tried hard to suppress the tears in my eyes, but still my eyes became moist. I hated myself for being so useless. I had already decided to give up. Why should I shed tears for such a man? After scolding me, Jason finally saw my embarrassed appearance. Seeing my tearful eyes, he seemed to feel a little sorry. He softened his tone and reached out to take my hand. Ava, I am doing this for your own good. What you said to Ivy today, Ivy is generous and won't take it to heart. I just hope that you will. We won't have a future anymore. I stared at Jason and said word by word. He was obviously stunned. What did you say? Ava, Jason didn't finish his question. Ivy, who had been hiding behind him looking pitiful, covered her face and left crying. Seeing this scene, Jason felt distressed and left me behind and chased after her. I limped upstairs and pushed open the door of the master bedroom of our wedding room. The bed was in a mess, showing how intense the battle was last night. My wedding photo with Jason was lying on the ground. This is the wedding photo I begged Jason for a long time before he went to take it with me. After bringing it back, I placed it in the bedroom like a precious treasure. I would wipe it every day. Now it is discarded on the ground like garbage. I grinned and walked over, picked up the wedding photo and smashed it hard a few times. Under my violence, the photo frame soon broke. I took out the wedding photo inside. In the photo, I was smiling like a flower, but Jason had a tense face. I remembered his gentle and warm smile in the video sent by Ivy. It turns out that he is not unable to smile. He just doesn't want to smile at me. Love and non-love are so distinct. I was really blinded by lard before. I found scissors and cut the 2 people in the wedding photo in half. Jason, from now on, I don't want you anymore. I spent the whole day cleaning up the wedding room. The wedding room of Jason and me was designed and decorated by me with great effort. I designed and decorated the wedding room with great love. I also gave the wedding room a cheesy name. Little Nest of Love. Now this little nest of love has another woman living in it, which makes me sick. I threw away the bedding and the wedding decorations that I had prepared for a long time. Everything full of love that I prepared by hand for Jason was packed up and thrown out. Even the wedding ring that I picked for a long time was thrown into the trash can. After spending a day cleaning up all this, I called the intermediary and put the house up for sale. Then I carried my suitcase and left the wedding room and went to my other apartment. When I arrived at the apartment, Jason called. Ava, I am going on a business trip to another place for a few days. Getting the marriage certificate at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow has to be postponed. I responded faintly. Jason's voice was rarely filled with guilt. When I come back from the business trip, we will get the certificate. If it's too late, we can hold the wedding first and then get the certificate. I responded indifferently again, seemingly sensing my coldness. Jason said again, what happened last night was my thoughtlessness. I apologize to you. Ava, wait for me. When I come back, I will give you a big surprise. After hanging up the phone, I sneered coldly. I don't know why Jason lied to me. Since Ivy has agreed to be with him, he should have been honest with me and told me clearly so that I can make way for them. But he has been lying to me all the time. He doesn't know that his beloved Ivy has already betrayed his lies. Ivy's circle of friends clearly shows me her daily affectionate life with Jason. Jason and Ivy flew abroad for a trip. They chose Paris. It is said that they are going to the Eiffel Tower and also going to see the Lavender Manor. These are all things I mentioned to Jason before. But Jason didn't do one thing for me. Now he is going to meet Ivy's requests. Love and non-love are clearly and plainly visible. Ivy provocatively told me that Jason didn't break up with me now just to embarrass me. He wants to change the bride at the wedding and make me feel ashamed and become a joke. Heh. Since that's the case, let's see who will become a joke then. Planning to cut off ties with Jason and leave this sad place, I submitted my resignation to the company and booked a plane ticket to go abroad on the day of the wedding in advance. My friends and colleagues all thought that I resigned because of getting married. Colleagues who are close to me also sent me messages asking about the wedding, but received my notice of canceling the wedding. The day before the wedding, Jason finally came back. We haven't seen each other for half a month. In this half a month, I haven't called Jason or sent him a message. Instead, Jason has been constantly sending me messages and calling me. In order to embarrass me at the wedding, he was being hypocritical and pretending to be affectionate. I saw through it but didn't expose it. On the day he came back, Jason went to our wedding room but couldn't enter. The wedding room has been sold by me at a very low price. After the new owner moved in, the password was changed. Jason called me, Ava, why can't I enter the wedding room? I answered nonchalantly, I have a surprise prepared at the wedding room. Let's go after the wedding. In these 6 years, I have prepared too many surprises, big and small, for Jason. He probably thought I was planning a big move, so he didn't mention entering the wedding room again. Ava, let's go home tonight. My parents want to see you. Jason's parents are very nice to me. I have no reason to refuse. In the evening, I arrived at Jason's family on time, but I didn't expect to see Ivy. She wasn't alone. She appeared at Jason's family with her mistress mother and my scumbag father. When I entered the door, Jason's parents and my scumbag father and Ivy's mistress mother were happily talking about the wedding. I didn't see Jason and Ivy. When I walked to the living room, there was movement on the stairs. I saw Jason in formal attire and Ivy in a dress coming down the stairs. Ivy's dress is very beautiful, even more outstanding than my wedding dress on my wedding day. I quietly watched Jason and Ivy walking down the stairs hand in hand. Seeing me, Jason spoke first, Ava, you are here. Ivy insisted on being a bridesmaid. We thought that you are her only sister, so we agreed. Ivy's mistress mother and my scumbag father were explaining the reason for Ivy wearing an expensive dress. I looked at them without any expression. Does being a bridesmaid require wearing a custom-made dress that is no different from a wedding dress? Isn't it just for a seamless transition at the wedding? They really have a good plan. Everyone in this room is very clear about the relationship between Jason and Ivy. There is no need for me to hide it anymore, it's very beautiful. People who don't know might think they are the bride and groom. Hearing me say this, Jason let go of Ivy's hand and came over. Ava, listen to my explanation about the dress. No need to explain. I waved my hand. You have your purpose in doing this. I believe you. Seeing that I was so easy to talk to and not making a fuss at all, Jason's expression was a bit stunned. He stared at me carefully. I was very calm and sat on the sofa eating cherries handed to me by Jason's mother. When I ate the third one, Jason suddenly sat down beside me. "Where is your wedding ring?" I answered indifferently, "It's at home." Jason was not very happy and questioned me. "Didn't you say that you would always wear it and never take it off?" I once thought that Jason loved me. So after we decided to get married and he put the ring on me, I swore that I would never take it off in my life. But later I found out that there are not only 2 of these rings, but 3. The other one is on Ivy's finger. It's inconvenient to wear it. Seeing my cold expression, Jason's face also darkened. He talked angrily with Ivy. I didn't react at all and continued to eat fruits. Finally, he couldn't bear it and went upstairs with Ivy again. Seeing this, Jason's mother also felt it was inappropriate and reminded me to go upstairs and take a look. I refused. No matter what Jason is doing with Ivy now, it has nothing to do with me. The dinner was very sumptuous. Ivy took the lead and sat on Jason's left side. Without any expression, I went to the other side of the table and sat far away from them. Ivy kept picking up food for Jason and talking to Jason coquettishly. I lowered my head and ate in silence until there was a shrimp in my bowl. I looked up. Ivy opposite me was looking at me pleasingly. "Sister, I heard from brother Jason that you like to eat shrimp." I pushed the shrimp in my bowl out expressionlessly. "I don't like to eat shrimp because I am allergic to seafood." Seeing me push out the shrimp that Ivy put in my bowl, Jason was very unhappy and spoke up. "Ava. He is warning me. Telling me to be obedient. But what is he? Why should I ruin my body for him?" I ignored Jason and ate with an expressionless face. On the other side, Ivy became aggrieved. "I know my sister doesn't like me. She must be treating me like this because she hates me being her bridesmaid. But now my only wish is to be my sister's bridesmaid. Can my sister please not hate me?" she said pitifully, as if I was bullying her. Jason's face was very ugly. Even Jason's father and Jason's mother looked at me strangely. I lowered my head and didn't say a word but just ate. Seeing that I didn't respond, Ivy sobbed and got up and left. Jason chased after her. I finished dinner without any emotion. This annoying situation ends today. From tomorrow on, I will have no more intersection with all these people. When I left Jason's family, I politely said goodbye to Jason's father and Jason's mother, thanking them for taking care of me and understanding me in these 6 years. Jason's mother looked at me complexly. "Ava, you are a good child, but you need to know the limits. You went a bit too far tonight." I didn't say anything. Jason's mother is indeed very good to me. But this kindness is based on Jason. Didn't she see the abnormality between Jason and Ivy? She didn't scold her own son or Ivy. Instead, she blamed me. It can be seen that her kindness to me is just so. I originally felt that it would be impolite to leave without saying goodbye tomorrow. Now seeing Jason's mother's appearance, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I finally don't owe anyone anything. I can leave with confidence and without any burden. Back at the apartment, my phone rang. Jason called. I refused to answer. He quickly sent a message. "Ivy being the bridesmaid tomorrow will not change. If you don't agree, this wedding doesn't need to happen." From the time we decided to get married until now, Jason has never put in any effort for the wedding. The wedding dress and suit were custom made by me. The hotel was booked by me. The wedding company was contacted by me. He never participated, just like an outsider. I always thought he was very busy and felt sorry for him being too tired from work. I would rather bear all the hardships myself. And he must be laughing at my stupidity when he saw me running around. The plane landed smoothly. I walked out of the airport and saw my aunt who had been waiting for a long time. She smiled and ran over to hug me, kissing my face while saying, "Well done. Dealing with scumbags and bitches requires such ruthlessness." Aunt pulled my luggage and walked out while chatting with me. Aunt already knows what happened in China. Her phone has been ringing non-stop. "You know what? That scumbag Jason called me dozens of times and kept asking about your whereabouts." How could I tell him? I blacklisted dozens of his phone numbers. Then out of curiosity, I looked at domestic reports and only then did I know that you actually disgusted them in this way. Aunt laughed happily. I didn't expect you to do this. That scumbag Jason actually showed such deep affection. If I hadn't seen those videos of him and Ivy, I might have been deceived by him too. Now he and that bitch Ivy are a perfect match and will be together forever. Aunt's words made me unable to help but laugh. I didn't originally plan to discuss Jason and Ivy. In fact, if Ivy wasn't so aggressive, I would have left following the principle of a good breakup. But they are too bullying. Jason used me as a tool to stimulate Ivy. I didn't plan to pursue it. I thought it was my stupidity anyway. I brought this upon myself. Although Jason is not a good person, his parents are really good to me. I just let it go for the sake of his parents. But he is too bullying. He actually wants to embarrass me at the wedding. He customized a bride's dress that is not a bridesmaid dress at all for Ivy. When I didn't agree to Ivy being the bridesmaid, he even threatened me righteously and wanted to cancel the wedding. As for Ivy, she has already taken Jason back from me. I let go and fulfill her. As a mistress, she should be content and stay in her place, but she doesn't want to be content. She actually sent me video messages again and again. Ivy thought I would cry like a coward. After all, I love Jason so much. She thinks she is the winner. After all, her mistress mother won against my mother back then. Now she is even better than her mother and has won against me. She wants to declare her victory to me. Since Ivy is so proud and wants to declare what she has done, I will fulfill her. I contacted the wedding company and paid the full wedding expenses. There is only one condition. As the bride, I will not attend this wedding. I asked the wedding company to make a video of the affectionate moments between Ivy and Jason and play it on a loop on the big screen at the wedding venue. Ivy sent so many of her affectionate moments with Jason. She never dreamed that I would save them as evidence of her affair with Jason. She never expected that I would play it grandly in front of the guests on the wedding day. All my colleagues and friends on my side have been informed one by one to cancel the wedding. But the guests on Jason's family's side and the relatives on my scumbag father's side and Ivy's mistress mother's side don't know the inside story at all. According to the invitations, without exception, they all went to the hotel for the banquet. The hotel I booked is a 5-star hotel with excellent cuisine. I wonder what expression the guests of Jason's family will have when they eat delicious food and watch the videos, photos, and text of Jason and Ivy's affair. Aunt said that it has been reported online. Jason and Ivy, this pair of scumbags and bitches, have been scolded badly. I smiled and turned on my phone. My phone was bombarded with calls and messages crazily. Before I had time to look carefully at who sent them, the phone rang again. I pressed the answer button without any emotion. Jason's nervous voice came clearly. Ava. You finally answered my call. Ava, listen to my explanation. Explain what? Explain that you had an affair with Ivy in our wedding room? Explain that you took Ivy on a trip to France? Explain that you were still hugging and kissing her the night before the wedding? No. Ava, it's not what you think. There is nothing between me and Ivy. We are innocent. I only have brother-sister affection for her. I was just comforting her. We didn't do anything. I sneered. Dare to do it but not admit it? Jason, your surname is Hua. Her surname is Liu. What kind of siblings are you? Not to mention that in all my life, I have never heard of any siblings being able to kiss passionately and sleep together. Please don't disgust me anymore, okay? It's not like that. Ava, those photos are all fake. I am just grateful to her. Ivy has depression. She said she likes me. She cut her wrists and tried to commit suicide. I was just afraid that she would do something stupid and comforted her. Believe me, the person I love has always been you. Listening to these unsubstantial explanations, I hung up Jason's call without any emotion. So ridiculous. Ivy has depression? Isn't this a fantasy? The Ivy I know has always been synonymous with viciousness and meanness. After her mistress mother angered my mother to death and brought Ivy into my family, what I saw was an extremely vicious evil flower, Ivy. She is as shameless and cruel as her mistress mother. She called me sister in front of my scumbag father, but behind his back, she cut up my dresses and tore up my mother's portrait. She pretended to be pushed downstairs by me and pretended to be locked outside the door by me so that my scumbag father would punish me, blame me, and loathe me. But the person who has always been bullied and hurt is me. In the more than 10 years when I was underage after my mother died, I suffered countless bullying and framing from Ivy. Even at school, she joined forces with a group of mean girls to bully me. I was locked in the classroom and the tool room by them. My books were polluted, torn up, and discarded by them. Even she maliciously gathered a group of hooligans and wanted to violate my innocence. That night, I was more careful and didn't go home by the original route. Instead, I chose another route. On the way, I met a teenager lying in a pool of blood. I called 120 and saved the unconscious teenager, and also won a glimmer of hope for myself. That teenager was a child from a wealthy family. The police conducted investigations and searched for the murderer in the vicinity for several months. Because of this, Ivy's bullying stopped. And I safely passed my high school and was admitted to college, escaping from that family that was like a hellhole. Jason loves Ivy. In Jason's heart, even if Ivy commits murder and arson, she is beautiful. I don't want to waste words with him and directly hang up and block him. I didn't expect Jason to find me abroad. I saw Jason again 3 days later. He appeared next to my aunt's residence, stubbornly waiting and refusing to leave. The security guard called. I had to go out to see him. Jason seemed to have lost a lot of weight. He squatted on the ground looking dejected, but when he saw me coming out, a look of surprise appeared on his face. He stood up and quickly walked towards me. Ava. What on earth do you want? I asked coldly. Ava, I know you have misunderstood the relationship between me and Ivy. I really have nothing with her. I came to see you today just to explain our relationship. Jason eagerly explained his relationship with Ivy to me. He said that he and Ivy are really very innocent. The reason why he cares so much about Ivy is that Ivy is his savior. In my senior year of high school, my dad's enemy arranged for someone to attack me. When my life was hanging by a thread, it was Ivy who saved my life. Would someone as vicious as Ivy save people? I find it as ridiculous as a fantasy. But Jason was very sure that it was Ivy who saved him. He said that after he was rescued, his parents arranged for people to investigate and confirmed that it was Ivy. He said that there was still blood stained on Ivy's clothes at home from when she helped him when he was injured. Jason rambled on about the date of his injury and his gratitude towards Ivy. Ava, I really have no romantic feelings for Ivy. I just appreciate her for saving my life back then. She has depression and can't be stimulated. I know she likes me. Jason scratched his head. I really don't have romantic love for her. I just pity her and sympathize with her illness. If it weren't for her, I would have died long ago. So for Ivy's kindness in saving my life, I have to tolerate her and help her. Ava, can you trust me once? Can you let go of your hatred for Ivy because of this? Can't. I refused Jason's request without hesitation. Ivy is malicious. She doesn't have depression at all. If anyone has depression, it should be the people who are bullied by her who get this disease. And I don't believe she will save people either. Ava, why don't you believe me? Jason was very frustrated. I only believe my intuition. I know that a dog can't change its habit of eating shit. What I said is true. Why don't you believe me? Jason repeated the details of Ivy saving him. I was extremely annoyed and turned to leave. My aunt was waiting for me in the living room. Seeing me come back, she breathed a sigh of relief. Did you talk it out? He seems to be sick. He keeps emphasizing that he has no love with Ivy. He just helps Ivy because of the kindness of saving his life. My aunt frowned and then suddenly exclaimed. Ava, don't you think it's strange? What? The date and place of saving people. Think carefully. My aunt's words reminded me. After thinking carefully, I was shocked. No way. On New Year's Day 10 years ago was the day when Jason had an accident. At the same place and at the same time Jason mentioned, I also saved a boy covered in blood. Could it be such a coincidence? Jason said he saw blood-stained clothes at Ivy's house. When I was helping the injured boy, my body was covered with his blood. Later when I got home, I changed my clothes. That clothes disappeared later and I didn't pay attention. Could it be that Ivy took the clothes and pretended to be the one who saved him? I suddenly remembered something. Because of what happened that night, my aunt came back from abroad and rented a new house for me to live in. My aunt stayed with me until the end of the college entrance examination. Because of my aunt's company, I never went back to that suffocating home again. Later, I cut off contact with my scumbag father. My aunt on the opposite side said word by word, "It must be that they took credit for your act of saving people. I was wondering why your scumbag father's business suddenly started to expand. Why did Jason's family help him? Is it because of this?" My aunt was extremely angry and kept cursing. "Scumbags and bitches. After killing my sister, they still bully you like this. Ava, this matter can't be left like this. We must investigate it clearly. My aunt is a person who does things as soon as she says." She immediately started to investigate. During the period when my aunt was investigating, Jason kept pestering me. I didn't show him any kindness, and he didn't back down. Because Jason stayed abroad all the time guarding me and wanting me to change my mind, Ivy couldn't sit still. She also flew abroad. On the first day Ivy arrived abroad, she came to find me. I didn't want to see her. I deleted all the calls and messages she sent me. Seeing that I ignored her, Ivy actually came to block me at my workplace in person. "Ava, let's talk." In this situation, I didn't refuse. I folded my arms and looked at Ivy. "Say what you have to say and fart quickly." Ivy looked at me hatefully. "Why do you haunt Brother Jason? You clearly know that Brother Jason only has me in his heart. Why don't you let go? Why do you play this game of playing hard to get?" Playing hard to get? This is really ridiculous. Ivy was angry. "Originally, Brother Jason and I were going to get married. It's because you ran away from the wedding shamelessly and made us a laughingstock at the wedding. So many people blamed Brother Jason. Brother Jason wanted to obtain your forgiveness, so he came to find you. Your brother Jason loves you so much. Why didn't he just marry you? Why did he come to find me, his ex? That's just because he pity you and is afraid that you will do something stupid? It's you who will do something stupid, right? I heard you have depression." I looked Ivy up and down. "You don't look like someone with depression at all. I guess your depression is fake, right? What are you talking about?" "You know very well what I'm talking about. Ivy, I always knew you were shameless, but I didn't expect you to be so shameless. Does something stolen make you very insecure? So you keep making up one lie after another to cover up? I don't understand what you are saying." Ivy's expression was a little flustered. Under my attack, she was guilty. I could see clearly and smiled. "How could you not understand what I mean? Otherwise, tell me about your love with your brother Jason. Tell me, when did you start to fall in love?" "Why should I tell you? As long as you don't pester Brother Jason anymore, we can go back to the past." Her tone was already very weak. I sneered. "Go back to the past? Back to when you saved him? Ivy, are you such a benevolent person? Looking at your vicious and shameless face, will you save people? It's a fantasy, right?" Ivy's expression was ashen and there was no longer any arrogance. "I don't understand what you are saying. You can't drive a wedge between me and Brother Jason." "Yes, I know you two can't be driven apart by me. I just want to make sure. Did you really save Jason? On the night of New Year's Day 10 years ago, are you sure you are the one who saved people and not an imposter?" Under my questioning, Ivy couldn't hold on anymore. "Sister, I know you hate me. I have already apologized to you. Can you forgive me? Do you really want to force me to death?" After saying that, she swayed. "Since sister doesn't want to see me so much, I'll just die." As Ivy said this, there was blood at the corner of her mouth. She covered her chest. "If I die, will you forgive me?" I looked at Ivy coldly and watched her clumsily fall into Jason's arms. Watching Jason nervously calling her name one after another. "Ivy, hold on. Brother Jason won't let you die." He anxiously held Ivy and didn't forget to yell at me. "What are you doing standing there? Call the emergency number quickly? How can you be so heartless? Ava, I misjudged you. I remained unmoved and looked at them. I can guarantee that she won't die. After all, if someone as shameless as her wants to die, then there will be no shameless people in this world anymore. My words angered Jason even more. If he didn't have to hold Ivy and didn't have an extra hand, I'm sure he would rush over and hit me. You are very good. Ava, I always thought you were gentle and kind. I didn't expect you to be so vicious. I hate myself for how I could have liked someone like you. I really misjudged you. The same to you. Take your sweetheart and go away quickly. Don't come out and make a fool of yourself again. Ivy was sent to the hospital by an ambulance that appeared just in time with blood at the corner of her mouth. When getting on the ambulance, I saw her triumphant expression. She was announcing to me that she had won another round. Looking at the triumphant smile on her annoying face, I raised the corner of my mouth. If you don't seek death, you won't die. Since Ivy wants to die so much, then I must fulfill her. It should be that my aunt's investigation has made progress. But I don't plan to announce it now. For no other reason, just to fulfill Jason's love. It is best for scumbags and bitches to be locked together so as not to harm others. After being sent to the hospital, Ivy finally escaped danger after being rescued. I heard that when she came to see me, she took a large amount of drugs and wanted to commit suicide. I don't know what kind of drug would make her unable to die even if she wanted to. Anyway, I don't believe she will commit suicide, but Jason believes it. I heard that Jason was extremely distressed. In order to make his savior not commit suicide and live well, Jason promised to marry Ivy as his wife. Their wedding is scheduled for next month. Getting rid of the annoying scumbag's entanglement and not having to deal with the vicious green tea bitch, I am much more relaxed. My aunt's investigation has already had a response. The investigations of the private detective piled up on the table. My aunt and I ate snacks and looked through those investigations targeting Ivy. As my aunt suspected, Ivy and her mistress mother took credit for my act of saving Jason after I saved Jason that year. Because I moved away and there was only one girl at home, relying on the clothes stained with Jason's blood, Jason's family identified Ivy as the one who saved Jason. Out of gratitude, Jason's family lent a helping hand to my scumbag father's company. They did everything they could to help my scumbag father and her mistress, allowing them to enjoy so many years of luxurious life. The three of them lived a prosperous life with the stolen kindness without any guilt at all. The private detective's investigation of Ivy accidentally uncovered a shocking secret, a secret about my mother's death. My mother didn't die naturally. She was killed by the mistress. Ivy's mistress mother secretly gave my mother banned drugs, causing her to have hallucinations and fall down the stairs and die. I gritted my teeth in hatred. The enmity of killing one's mother is irreconcilable. I was actually deceived by them for so many years and always thought that my mother's death was natural. If they kept a low profile, I would never know about this. They don't have to worry about being exposed. But they just have to seek death and jump in front of me. If I don't deal with them, I will be sorry for their elaborate planning. After my aunt and I finished reading the private detective's investigation, we were both in a heavy mood. For a long time, we looked at each other. I have an idea. We spoke in unison and then both mentioned the wedding at the same time. Create a scene at the wedding and let them experience the joy of having a banquet again. Jason and Ivy's wedding soon arrived. The wedding was very grand. Because Ivy was in poor health, Jason was personally involved in every aspect of the wedding preparation. From a foreign country far away, I received messages every day from an unfamiliar number about the progress of Jason and Ivy's wedding preparations. Jason's family is wealthy and powerful, and they give the best of everything. Unlike me before when I had to prepare everything by myself. I looked at Ivy's show-off sent by that unfamiliar number, showing off her wedding dress, her wedding ring, and the wedding room she lived in. Even the hotel for the banquet, she had to show off. I smiled and watched Ivy's show-offs, waiting to see how she would die. The wedding finally took place as scheduled. Ivy and the scumbag father and Ivy's mistress mother, a family of 3, were happily picked up and taken to the hotel. The guests were all present, and it seemed that everyone had forgotten what had happened before. Everyone was smiling and congratulating Jason and Ivy. The wedding march sounded. Jason stood in the center of the stage waiting for the scumbag father to lead Ivy's hand and walk over. They were smiling sweetly. Happiness was very close to them. But just when Ivy was handed over to Jason by the scumbag father, a change occurred. The police entered the wedding venue and took out handcuffs in front of Ivy's mistress mother, whose face was filled with smiles. Ivy's mistress mother was taken away for investigation, and the scumbag father was not spared either. This wedding was forced to be suspended again. The news about Ivy's mother killing someone quickly spread. Not only did Ivy's mother kill someone, but news about Ivy bullying other girls on campus back then, including bullying me, her half-sister, was also exposed. Everything about her discussing with those mean girls and hooligans to humiliate me was revealed. Of course, it also included her pretending to be the savior and deceiving Jason's family. Including her finding a doctor to forge her so-called depression to deceive Jason and make Jason serve her wholeheartedly. After Jason knew that all this was just a scam, he was furious. The more he had protected and dedicated himself to Ivy before, the more disgusted he was now. Ivy's mistress mother was sent to prison and awaits her as imprisonment. Jason's family withdrew their help to the scumbag father. The scumbag father's company soon couldn't hold on. As for Ivy, it is said that she was already pregnant with Jason's child when she was having a wedding with Jason. She still dreamed of using the child to control Jason. Unfortunately, she thought too simply. Jason arranged for someone to send Ivy to the hospital. Ivy firmly refused. Later, an accident happened and the child was gone. She herself was also paralyzed from the waist down and will have to spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. She has always liked to pretend to be sick to gain sympathy. This can be considered getting what she wanted. Jason later came to find me abroad again. I moved with my aunt in advance. I never want to see this person again. My entanglement with him ended when he was with Ivy behind my back.